And Wesley, hello.
Hey, Wesley.
And I record just the meditations, and I don't know, Christine, you just run it through, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then, so if you want the actual full class, I think you can do that, but I'm just going to continue to send out just the meditations, which I think is probably,
Yeah, it's great.
or easy to do, probably.
Yeah, if you want to just replay them.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because then you can just go right to the meditation. Yeah.
Yeah, they're good to read. Are we happening?
Just, can you talk for a sec?
Hello, my name is John.
Okay.
You can bring it closer if it's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just made a fresh new batch.
How's it going, Wesley? Okay. Yeah. How are you? Good. It is.
You have to look at yourself because mine doesn't do a turnaround thing.
Yeah. It gets us me.
Yeah.
They're not? Okay, cool. Okay, let's officially start.
You okay? You have cough drop.
You need some water?
Okay.
So how's everybody doing? Would anyone like to share anything about their meditative journey thus far, or any experiences that you may like to share that would like maybe equate your meditations with, I don't know, it's kind of nice sometimes to hear people's stories about how how they feel that their meditations are spilling into their life, or how it's adding insight to their day, you know.
I find that I'm remembering my dreams more, and they're vivid, and they're relevant, and they're wild.
Vivid, relevant, and wild. I want to go see that movie.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a play title in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good.
I mean, it didn't occur to me except, when I thought, well, what am I doing differently?
Right. Meditating. Yeah. And I think you have a nice daily practice, don't you? Like you have a daily practice.
Yeah.
Right now. Yeah.
Short one.
Short
one
one.
that's easy to do, 5 minutes a day.
Yeah. No, it's good. 5 minutes a day is much more. It's better than an hour, 1 hour a week. For sure. And that will lead to good things. 5 minutes a day. Because you may have experienced this yourself in your kind of. I think everyone goes through that before they kind of kick it into, full spiritual gear. Most people go through a period like that. There's ups and downs, and then they fall off, and they come back, and then at some point, you kick in, and sometimes like 5 minutes a day is what it takes for that thing to turn over, for you to reach a point of no return with it, where it's like, okay, this is your life begins to revolve around that, versus you're trying to squeeze your meditation, right? Trying to make your meditation fit in with your life, and that's a very important turning point in a spiritual practitioner's life, is when the sort of so-called details of life begin to be secondary. Right? And it's like, no, I'm doing the meditation. No, I can't. Sorry, I can't join you for this at this particular time tomorrow, because this is when I meditate. And it takes a while, and it takes some. I think for most people, it takes some results. It takes a little bit of where they've experienced the nectar of the results, and then they just, that becomes very clear that they need to do that more than anything else, so that the rest of the time that they spend is actually quality time because they've done meditation. So thanks, Wesley. Yeah. Dreams, vivid and meaningful dreams. Anyone else want to say anything?
I got two this week.
That's good.
One he listened to last night, and it was really good. I'm noticing that I have a lot of blocks, like to get there. Like I just now really have to go, no, March, this is really good for you. It's gonna be amazing. Just do it, you know. But I really have a lot of blocks, and I'm totally aware of that. So, yeah. But it was really nice having you guide it, and but also remembering that, you know, don't get really into that. But it really helped me get to that place of quietness and, you know, be able to sort of concentrate on that diamond light. I can get there and actually hold it for a time, and yeah. So, you know, it's coming. I feel hopeful. So, yeah.
Yeah, if you need to use the audio to get you there,
Yeah.
then use the audio until you don't need it. Like when I first started doing sort of typical, sort of classic Tibetan Buddhist meditations, when I started that, my teacher told me to do the death awareness meditation for 6 weeks, and in this meditation you go through this series of visualizations, and you basically what you're doing in that meditation is you're just being kind of realistic about what your priorities are in your life and what is going to help you and what isn't. And the fact is that we don't really know when we're going to die, but we are going to die. This body is not going to just keep going, this physical thing, right? And we don't know when. And what's going to help us knowing that. And I used the audio for a good 2 weeks before I could like let go of the audio, because the visual was really helpful, you know. And then I was like, I listened to his voice, and then when I let go of the audio, he was still there. Like I felt his comfortable presence still in my mind as I went through it, and then eventually I could do it on my own, and then you get to relate to it a little differently, because it's your own sense of what's happening, you know, and it's really cool. So I'm gonna say, yeah, definitely, if it helps you sit more than you know, once or so, use the audio. Because Wesley's method of 5 minutes a day is actually prescribed to beginner meditation. It's prescribed, and they say because there is a great potential for burnout. People get excited, right? And say, yeah, and then all of a sudden they're going full in, and then a year later they're just flat out, and they didn't really work because they pushed too hard, too much, and they, you know, met with an insensible way. So a great method is you pick a time in the day, you know, like before work or something like that, that you know that you can do, and you just sit down and you do it. And they say you set the alarm, right? 5 minutes, and you actually don't go any longer than 5 minutes, even if you want to, right? You just like do the thing, and the thing goes off in 5 minutes, and you stop, and you go for 6 or 7 days like that, and then you add a minute on the next week, and you don't go any more than 6 minutes, and then you don't go any more than 7 as it goes on, and then you habituate yourself to this thing. And you habituate yourself, and pretty soon you're at 20 minutes, you know, 30 minutes, piece of cake, and it's just a piece of cake, and your body craves it. You know, your body wants it because your mind and your body begin to crave that thing, and if you do it like that, something will happen where you won't have to think about prioritizing or making yourself go there. It will just naturally happen, like breathing, or your life will sort of sort itself out, and you'll find yourself in that position over and over again. And not only that, but you'll become more efficient. You'll sit down, it'll take less and less and less time for your mind to sift down, get quiet, and your body. You'll just sit down, and your body just be, the posture will be there. You just with so much. So I greatly encourage that small periods of time. But these audios are like 20 minutes, so
Yeah.
right. So maybe you could do
Yeah.
an audio, but then do 5 minutes, 5 minutes in. So
Could you do like a little audio
a little,
for us?
sure, if you like, yeah,
Like, and send it like a little helpful 5 minute.
yeah, I could do that.
That'd be awesome.
Okay, I will. I need a reminder though. I'll write it down somewhere. Right here. I'll do it tonight.
Okay.
5 minutes. Okay. Anybody else want to share anything? All right then. I think what we'll do is we'll get into a meditation pretty soon here, quite quickly. And so we're all about stillness and analyzing, right? Where this is supposed to be, we're developing our stillness, and so that with our stillness we can work on our analytical mind to analyze concepts that will save us from suffering. And there are many ways to do a stillness type of meditation. And in the beginning, it's very helpful to use sort of physical things like your breath and the sensations of the body. It's very grounding. But you can also use other things. You can use an object of your devotion is a very nice object to hold in your mind. The easier it is for us to actually focus on something, the easier it's going to be to remain still with it, right? We're creatures of desire. So that's why you'll see some people they'll have an altar and they'll have a photo of, like, say, Jesus or their teacher or some religious figure or any Mother Teresa, who knows? It could be anyone. And there is something very calming and very heart-opening by simply having your eyes closed, or actually staring at a picture of, but having your eyes closed and visualizing like a holy being or someone that you deign as being a holy being, and you just focus on them and you think about their good qualities. And it takes you out of yourself, and it has a way of opening your heart center. And a big part of learning to still your mind is learning to pinpoint areas of your body with your concentration, so that your stillness can at some point, you could say, get really pinpointed and tiny in certain places in your body where you can enter, so your energy actually enters these areas, because the mind and your prana, the mind and the energy that moves through your body, they're united. You can't really separate them. Your thoughts and your prana, your energy that moves through your body. So if you can get a very, very still mind, it's much easier then to be able to manipulate certain energies in your body to run in certain ways in a very centered place. And then you can get very deep and very centered simply by being able to have a mind that feels like it's drawn in and coming from this place, this kind of center line, and like either here or here, you could say. Um, so that's, you can do that by focusing on a holy object that opens your heart, that makes you feel like, like love, devotion, a loved one or something, and your heart will open. And then when your heart opens, energy then is kind of allowed to enter that space. And when you have energy entering that space, you instantly become more tranquil, and you instantly become more loving, and you instantly become the potential for you to become irritated drops substantially if you do that enough. Okay. And also, if you do those kinds of things enough, that kind of object enough, and apply techniques which will do as far as analyzing the nature of this object, then that then can spill into your world. Well, you could be looking at someone who a second before that was causing you like mental trauma, where it could shift, and then you could think, whoa, this is a holy being in front of me, and have a radical transformation of your experience of that being right there, and it be real for you. Because we've been talking about this a little bit, right? We've been talking about how it is that our perception of the world is the world that we're living in, and the people in our world exist by perception. For us, they exist on their own. They exist. But our experience of them is our experience of them. And because we don't know how they see themselves, we don't really know whether they see themselves as a schmuck or completely happy or totally enlightened or, right, holy being. And if you do your work on the inside, you can have a very real shift with the people in your life. And it might be just one person that pops first, where you just go, you see them, and just for a second, the rug gets pulled out from underneath you, and you realize that, whoa, this person is not ordinary. And a person that's standing right next to you looking at the same thing may not have that experience. They may have actually been seeing them holy the whole time, or normal. But it's going to be your mind that has that experience. And because it is your perception, that gives you the ability to actually be able to bring those kinds of perceptions on in your life, and turn the ever arising process of your world. Your process of your world in existence is just this process of it coming in and out of existence in a constant stream. So if you can reach stillness, some kind of still mind, then you can gain some power in there. Whereas before, where previous to that, you never had any power because your mind was moving just as fast as everything else. Because you can't see it. You can't see it because you are the current being swept away. You can't actually see it flowing because you're being carried away. So another thing that we can do, and which is what we're going to do next, is you can use focusing on certain parts of your body and your subtle energies to actually still your mind in the same way. So by concentrating on energy channels and taking your mind to certain energy channels, it has a way of taking your mind away from that scattered kind of process and into a fine process, and distilling your mind down to a fine focus. And then that energy that you're focusing on then moves into the center, and then you experience tranquility. And that's another way to do it, which is what we're going to try right now. So let's do that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It'll be nap time soon.
So focusing on breath, is it part of what you just explained, or is something different?
It can be. We're going to focus on the breath
It's another.
just to kind of make our way in. Focusing on the breath is another way, another one of the methods that you can. It's a very, very well known and very effective method.
Yeah, but it's different than what you just explained.
Yeah, it is different. Yeah, it will be different. So let's begin by just listening to the sound of the bowl and following the sound till it stops. Taking a few moments to really settle in. Beginning with that basis of relaxation. Feel the sensation of where your body meets the ground. Just feeling it, not allowing any, or trying not to allow any mental images to crowd out the process of simply feeling it. Just using this physical sensation to bring your mind into the present. No big deal. It's a gentle focus. Take your next breath more mindfully as you inhale and have a nice lift with this inhale, drawing your crown towards the ceiling, elongating through the spine, and then keeping a lifted heart and a slightly lifted crown as you exhale and relax the shoulders. Give yourself a gentle and inward smile. Brighten up on the inside. take a few moments now to just be with the breath as it passes in and out through the nostrils. Again, you're using this object of meditation to simply bring the mind here and now. And then shift your focus so that your mind is pointing your focus at your nostrils. And then take that focus and draw it back so that you're looking at this pinpoint of diamond light between your eyebrows, but back in the center of your head. So you're just beginning to have a focus of this place in the center of your head. So you may find that you're going to be fluctuating between feeling like you're looking at that spot and being in that spot. And the object really is to be in that spot, is to feel like you're seated in that spot in a very relaxed way. And it can help to first look at that spot as if you're a watcher looking at it inside your head. And it will naturally pull you there so that you feel like you're actually looking out from that place, which is what you want. So now that we've gotten ourselves a little more centered, take your mind and let it roam down the inside of your body and begin to visualize a golden ring of light that is like you're wearing a belt made of gold, golden light. And then make that light actually begin to stream down through the floor, through the concrete of the building, through the earth, and it reaches down and it makes it all the way to the center of the planet and takes root there. So your mental image is some sort of visual of a light flow. You may use water as a mental image, as a flowing, or it could be warm golden light, but it should have a flow to it. You could call this your grounding, if you like, grounding you to the center of the planet. And so just be with this flow. And relax as you feel it constantly stream and rooted into the center of the planet. Now, we're going to take our mind's focus now and focus on the chakras or the wheels, little openings, energy openings at the bottom, the soles of your feet. So you just take your mind there and visualize these energetic light system. And visualize or experience or feel more yellowish golden light entering from the earth into your feet and running up inside your legs, the light channels of light in your legs. And so it runs from the earth into your feet through the legs, mixes with this golden belt grounding energy, and then goes back down. So you have this experience of a circular flow, earth energy running up into your feet, flowing through your legs, and then back down to the grounding, all the way down to the center of the earth. And just be with that for a few moments. And now we're going to move into a different focus. And don't worry about, you don't have to maintain this other thing. It's there anyways. You're just looking at it. So we're going to now focus on, you might want to call it cosmic or universal energy, but picture it like diamond clear prana, light energy coming from the universe down into your crown. Now, it can help if you think of something that's out in the universe, like for instance, the North Star. You can think of an object that's in the sky, and actually you're hooked into this light, this star, and it's like a light beam flowing down right into your crown and right down the back of your body, as if your spine was hooked into this star. But you may not need the star. You may just be able to feel this flow that's coming in from the above, washing down through the back of your body in a constant stream. Everything has flow. Nothing is stagnant. It's all moving. And it also mixes in the navel area, around that, where the earth energy and the grounding energy is mixing. It's also mixing up there. And some of it's flowing down to the earth as well. Now, you're hooked into that universal connection. It's coming down all the way into this belly area. Now, this mixture of those energies now, see them coming up the front of your body, like this mixture of energy. And this may be more like a golden mixture of golden light and also diamond light, diamond clear. It will look different to you each day, to each person as well. Maybe it's a different color altogether, but for the sake of feeling it, you can put a color onto it. So this flows up the front of your body, like washing the front of your body in a constant stream up past your throat and your face, and then going right back up into the universe, maybe back to that North Star or pinpoint of light above you or something like that. Now take your mind to this flow of energy that's coming up your front, and as it reaches the heart area, see some of that light energy actually branching off from there and going out your shoulders and down your arms and out your hands. So then you have these wheels, chakras at your hand, the palms of your hands, and you visualize energy, light energy coming out of your hands in a constant stream. If this is really flowing well, you may feel very creative. So with all this going, without worrying about it too much, just maybe just getting a feeling, a sense of it, picture that from the radiance, from the glow of your light, of your energy, you, by the virtue of the existence of that glow, you can see like an aura around you. So you can see this as golden yellow light as well. That's a nice color to use. Visualize it like an arm lengths away from you or so, as if you reached out your arms, your fingertips would touch the edge. And see it going up above your head and around your whole body, back, sides, and actually going right underneath your body, like, and closing in underneath your body, like as if you're in an egg-shaped kind of light form. And that it kind of wraps around the grounding that goes down to the center of the earth and is hooked into that, as if the grounding was going through that. And the universal energy coming down as well goes through that aura, and it's all connected. And sometimes thinking of your aura will take you out of your center. So let's pull the mind back and look once more at that diamond in the center of your head to bring yourself back into center. So now let's take a little bit of a journey with the mind and take it right down, and let's take a look at, be with your root chakra. You can think of that as being the very bottom, like between your anus and your genitals. You could think like that. And you could see like a light opening there or a wheel. Just place your mind there. Think of this as a very earthy, grounded chakra, keeping you very real. And then it's good to think of these chakras as close to the back of your body, as if the center line that's like from that North Star going all the way down through your body and down to the earth is near the back of your body. And that these chakras are hooked into that line. And then a little bit further up from that root chakra, there's another chakra there you can see. And it's below your navel, about 4 finger widths below your navel. Sometimes good to see that as a yellowish kind of a light. I'm not going to start throwing around like Sanskrit words and stuff. Let's just stick with the visual of the place. So just have your mind visualize that place. This pinpoint of light that could look like a wheel to you. Now further up still, near the back, is the navel chakra. Sometimes it's good to see that as more of a reddish kind of a color. Sometimes that chakra is bigger in size than the lower ones. Now let the mind travel through the center line in the back, up and rest in the heart chakra, which is where your heart should be, but back in the center of your body in the back. It's your center of compassion and all kinds of amazing things. Just feel that area as your mind focuses there. And then a little further up still, we have the throat chakra. This is a very active chakra for many people, of communication. Sometimes it's also nice to see that as a red color, but it will appear differently to you each day. And then traveling further up, following the back line, let's go right to the crown. Crown chakra, right in the top of your head. You can see a wheel there, an opening. The center of great bliss. Now let's come back down a bit from the crown and rest once again at the diamond light in the center of your head. Just relax there. Keep your mind with that place. This tiny radiant pinpoint of light. So So as we come out of this meditation, do it slowly and try and see how centered you can stay as you open your eyes and feel like you're still kind of sitting in that visual of the light body more than the physical body. And so your experience of the room and the people in it may be quite different than it was before we began the meditation. So coming to surface. So that the tricky part about this situation is we're in a class. And we're supposed to keep doing a class. But you're probably pretty content right now. Just slowly coming back. Yeah, it's good. Shake your legs out. Whatever you need to do to get comfy. Did you find that calming? Like, make you peaceful, or bring kind of a sense of a kind of stillness happen during the process? So that was 24 minutes. But if you did that on your own, it wouldn't take 24 minutes because you'd be moving much quicker, right? If you did that meditation, if you did that meditation every day, it would change your reality. You would begin to feel different in the world. People would begin to appear different to you, and the world would light up. The magic in the world would light up and become seen to you. So that would mean that you would take the audio and you would get really good at it so that you could sit down and do that in 10 minutes. And all you would do is you just sit down, boom, you'd sit, and you'd start. You'd get the earth going. The grounding, boom, would just be there. Grounding would be there, bang. Bang, it's there. The mixture's up, boom, it's there. The hands, boom, are just there. And then it's like chakra, chakra, ding, 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 ding. You're sitting there. And then you're like awake. But you're rested in this place because what we just did is we took our minds to a place where it doesn't normally live. The consciousness doesn't normally think of those things. And because the winds and the prana begin to go where your mind goes, the more of your energy that you have running in those kinds of places, unobstructed, the quieter you become. There's a danger to this kind of meditation, though. And the danger is that you could turn into like a bliss monkey. That's what we're called, people like me. So, I became one of those people.
What does it mean?
What it means, a bliss monkey means that um, you're not doing any analytical meditation. You're just doing these kinds of meditations, and you're going to a very, very awesome, still place. And if you get very, very good at it, you get very, very still, and you can, without any exaggeration, completely leave the world behind. You do not have a concept of a physical body. You do not have a concept of you as you know it. You're somewhere else completely, and everything's really good. You've left your afflictions behind, but they're still there, back where your body is, lurking in your mind stream, and it's very, very addictive. It's very addictive, especially if you've got mental problems, which I have. You got like a lot of afflictions because you just can go somewhere where they aren't, right? Um, and it can send you into you can like be born there in a sense. You can spend so much time there that you actually stay there for a lot of years, and then the any goodness that you had that brought you there just kind of wears out, and then you end up coming back, and you can't, and you're just left in this kind of hellish existence because you never dealt with your issues, right? So this kind of meditation can get you quite quickly to a place where you're still enough to then begin to think about other things that are pertinent to your waking day, that needs your attention. Your life needs your attention. The people in your life need your love, and they need your attention, and everything that you do needs you. That's why you're there. That's why it's there. It's for you to give your attention to, for whatever reason it may end up being for you. There's no accident that everything's happening in your life just exactly the way that it is. So we've talked. Well, first of all, did anybody want to say anything about that type of meditation? Any observations or any questions that you'd like to say or add or comment before we move on a little bit?
So I found that when that light came down to envelop me,
Yeah.
I noticed that I had completely, I mean, forget about leaving that spot, I had completely tensed up.
Like you felt
Like
physical tension?
I felt like my body had actually arched, like my shoulders were, my back was arched, and
Oh.
lying down, and so it seems to somewhere, either I was,
So that you're talking about like the universal energy coming down?
yeah, I mean, at some point, just imagine that, you know, it's got, this, you know,
Oh, like the aura.
the aura around
Yeah.
around you.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know if it
Well, that could have been a few things because you were lying down, right?
I was lying down, so
Yeah.
I imagined it sort of
Yeah.
around me,
Yeah.
maybe penetrating through the floor.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just being around me. And it was sort of at that point, I mean, maybe I had it before, but at that point, I noticed that all of a sudden, you know, my muscles were tense.
And did it feel like an inner experience? Like it was like inner and like sort of coming out into your muscles, or did it feel like your body was just like sort of having outer tension in say?
Felt like outer.
Yeah. Interesting. Because it's a very different energetic experience for the body, right? And all kinds of things can happen when you start doing those kinds of meditations. You can like jerk around. Like some people do those things, and they just beginning to get prana moving into places that aren't quite like relaxed and open yet, and so there's prana moving around, and so it can feel like it's a little bit janky, and the body can feel tension from that. You know, some like great meditators when they sit, when they're this isn't really stillness per se, but when you start to get pranic jolts through your central channel or through this, that's why sometimes they call that the channel of the dance, because it can make your body do these weird things, and it's just following the energy, right? Or the body can just pass out. Some people do these things and they just completely, they're gone, like they pass out, like they fall asleep. They fall asleep, or yeah, because the body can't handle it yet. It's so new, right? There's prana, mind, thought, light going to places where it hasn't been for a long time, or something like that. So it's an adjustment, right? Because if you do that enough, and we kind of touched this upon this last class, was that you'll see people existing in that way. Like you'll stop when you see somebody, you won't see like a meat puppet. You won't see like a bag of bones and flesh. What you'll begin to look at is you'll begin to see what you've been looking at in yourself, right? And then you're beginning to get a sense of the eternal, right? Of the endless, right? In this other being in front of you, because you've been with it so much in yourself. It's like anything. If you're like having a bad day, it's hard to see beauty, right? Like that, and vice versa. If you're having a great day, it's easy to see beauty. It's easy to hear good music, and it's easy to give a compliment. It's the same way. If you're focusing on these kinds of things enough, it's easy to see it in other people. You see all kinds of crazy things that you couldn't see before. So what about the other side of it? Like, what about using that to actually then analyze reality, right? Like, the whole process of trying to understand that there isn't anything in our world that isn't dependent upon our perception of it, that we experience. And it's called like the emptiness of objects, right? Or the emptiness of reality, which meaning something that isn't in the objects that we think is, right? Like we think, if you're a normal person, you look at this beautiful bowl, and you don't look at it and have this process of knowing that there's a bowl inside your head first that gives you the ability to actually comprehend a bowl. Because if you didn't have the idea of bowl in here, there's no way you could see a bowl. You couldn't. It'd be impossible for you to see a bowl. What would you be looking at? You'd have to label it something else. You would be forced to label it to something else. And so how do we use that truth in our life? It's a slippery idea. It's a slippery concept. So how do we directly perceive what is incomprehensible in a sense? Because there's a term called seeing emptiness directly. And in order to actually understand how this object is existing for each and every one of us in its own way, in each of our own individual ways experiencing this object, in order to understand that truly, the mind actually has to go to a place of non-conceptuality, because to then see how reality is appearing to you. But how are you going to get there? How are you going to take a mind that is forced into always conceptualizing things to live? You have to then have a true experience of something that's beyond the concepts of the mind. Well, we have to take ourselves there step by step and continuously analyze the things in our life that we hold to have some kind of self to them outside of our projection of it. And we need to convince ourselves of that truth, that there isn't anything in the world that we see that we are not putting meaning onto. It's not any, that it couldn't be like that. But that is really hard to remember. It's very, very hard to remember. It's exactly the opposite of how the life looks like it's appearing. But when you're sitting in class, you can logically go there. You can go, yeah, that makes sense. But then try that out in the world when someone, appears to you as having certain qualities, and it sure looks like it's them. And then we'll have all these afflictions about it, right? Why are you behaving this way? You're causing me all this grief. Or, will you marry me? Because you make me feel good, right? So you don't you think this person has the ability to give you a certain feeling, so you want to marry this feeling that you think they can give you, and they never could. It was all born of your goodness, of that somehow they happen to be the object that you had that experience with, just like the bowl. It just happens to be a person, and you exist the same way. You are also, right? Because, and in order to buy that, we have to understand that we don't exist the way that we think we do, and that we are not what we think we are.
Think. It's like think. Physical world, and then in here, what goes on in there.
Mm-hmm. And it gets really subtle, right? So now we'll just do a little meditation, and that will do a little analytical meditation, and hopefully, so ideally, you're doing both, so that maybe part of the week or part of the month you're doing more of those kinds of stillness meditations, and then maybe you'll do a shorter version of that and then do more analysis. And then eventually it will happen so that your stillness happens so fast that you're still, and then, okay, I'm going to think about this for a second, and you're completely still as you gaze upon whatever it is that you, because then you're clear. Your mind is clear, and you're clearly seeing in a way that is impossible by reading about it or thinking about it during the day, in the flurry of the day, right? So let's do, if you want to stand up or whatever you might need to do before, it's not going to be a long meditation. So this is good because we were pretty still not long ago. So use that sound. So because it wasn't so long ago that we did our meditation, let's see if we can simply go to the center of the head quite easily and quickly. Just thinking of that pinpointed diamond, light, center of the eyebrows, back into the center of the head. Just focus on that place. For a couple of minutes. It is helpful to think of it as sparkling, like it's catching sunlight or something. Something beautiful to look at is very helpful. And if the mind wanders off, just relax when you catch it. Gently bring yourself back. And be happy that you're back to working on your stillness and lucidity, just completely non-useful, non-productive to be hard on yourself if you've lost the object. It doesn't help at all. Just be happy. Come back and try again. So with as much level platform that you have reached now, try to rest there. Try to just stay very still and relaxed as we go through a few ideas, as we think about the concept of what we think or what you think you are. If someone came to you and asked you who you were, what would you tell them? How do you define yourself? This person really wants to know about you. So begin to think of good descriptions, adjectives and nouns, words, as many as you can, so you can give this person a full picture of what it is that you are, the things that you do, the things that you like. And as you tell this person all about yourself, you can see this collection, like a big bunch of photos, pictures around you. See how big you have become. Besides just your body. How many definitions, how many people and things, places and objects make you who you are? favorite objects, even objects that you don't like make you who you are. Countless pictures. Places you've been, places you'd like to go. People that you know. That you wish you didn't know. People that you wish you knew. Now, start removing these definitions. Start removing these definitions from your being. See if you can find some kind of essential you, some kind of core you that doesn't have to do with anything outside. If you had a different country, a different body, or even a different memory than you do now, what about you would still be you? What would be the same? Is there anything that you can find that is standing still, that is what you are? Can you remain still and see anything that is you that is not changing constantly? As soon as you look at it, it changes, it disappears, it moves. Well, who's doing the looking? Who's doing the looking? And doesn't the looker change as soon as something is seen? in that process, in your with your stillness, can you catch a you that remains? Doesn't change. Be with the process as best you can. So we're going to come back from our meditation the same way we went in, very gently. I'll follow the sound back. Slowly just come gradually and open your eyes. A little trippy, right? So, how do you how do you get yourself familiar with what is like it's unseeable, right? Um, we'll do more of those types of meditations where you think certain things, you think certain ideas, and it, based upon the stillness that you've been growing, you think certain ideas until um, these kinds of thoughts take you to a place where all you can do is just stay with the feeling of what that means. Because, like at a certain point, you can no longer really think about it anymore. Because it's just you're going back and forth too many, like back and forth. You can't really find the thing that the mind wants. And the mind wants something. There's a me that exists just the way that I want it to be, right? And so how do we get in touch with radiant, eternal. How do we get in touch with that place that all our kind of concepts are coming from? We have to use concepts to get there. So then we can relax, still mind opens up, and then this, you have a experience of like the view, or you have an experience of that type of reality in which you'll never be able to describe to anybody. You can only go here and go, okay, well, I'm not that, really, because if that was gone, I'd still be here, and then till you get to this place where, well, there's something about me that's unending. You know, I can't really say what it is exactly, and what that means. What is that going to mean as far as reality is concerned, and everybody else? So, um, you know, what's going to work for me if I'm eternal? Is it what's important? Things change when you know different things become important when you get in touch with that. Are you okay? Something? Yeah. Good. So it takes practice, right? It takes practice to, I don't know, it's like you gently get yourself this place where you can then just, in a way, contemplate the openness that you're experiencing. And it can be like a free fall. And so if our whole lives have been spent trying to like control everything and make sure that, you know, I'm safe in this way and all these things are working out for me, you know, that's like the opposite of how a holy enlightened being experiences life, because they're not, a being like that is not, their happiness is not dependent on those kinds of things, right? Because they've done what they needed to do to strip away this thing where, well, you know, God, if I'm not, you know, married, or if I don't have kids, I don't exist in a certain way that I want to exist. Which doesn't mean that you can't do that. In fact, the opposite is true. The more you get in touch with this wholeness in yourself, the more you can truly live and truly experience and truly love right here now in the world. But it's not dependent upon how things turn out, good or bad. So, and how do you get there? Is you do that. You build the stillness slowly but surely. You stiller and stiller and stiller until that still mind can hang out at that little doorway, that slippery little doorway. It's just like hanging there, and you're just hovering there, and it's like you can go through all kinds of stuff there. You can feel like you're going to die, and in a sense, there's a part of you that will die, you know. And it's like you kind of stay there, and let it happen, and the magic will happen. Because you can't do it. You can't like do it. You have to like do the things you need to do to place yourself there so that it happens. So it's like you'll never be able to force it. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's it for today.
That's all. Just a little bit.
It's you know, there's a whole universe waiting for you.
Have people ever gone over the edge and not come back from
What do you mean by that?
going mental?
Yeah.
That
Yes.
scares me.
You know, as long if you have a teacher that you can ask questions to, the chances of you going crazy are like very small. if you you know, if you hole yourself up in your room and you decide, you know, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this now, and then you just start doing crazy stuff, and you're like cranking these meditations, and you're like, I'm gonna, right? And then it's like a, a good analogy of that, actually, a great analogy of that is if you ever have done any gardening or pressure hoses, things like that, and you have like a hose that's kinked, that's knotted, and then you have high pressure water going in, and you just instead of untying the hose or something, you just like turn the water up, the hose breaks, right? It's like if you try to crank it, then you're in danger of doing something weird. But if you're doing it correctly, you're going to feel a little bit crazy. You should feel at least a little bit crazy for a while, because you're changing your concept of what you've known as being true. And when that begins to change, everything changes. And so there's a transition period where you feel like, oh my God, like my whole foundation is being like taken from me. And that's when you need someone to talk to who's gone through it at that point, who can keep you grounded and keep reaffirming that like that is not the ultimate you that's going through that. That's the kind of small you that's falling apart and getting washed away as the being that you're striving to be emerges. There's an in-between phase that is scary, can be scary. I personally don't know of anyone who hasn't gone through crazy emotional stuff that's embarked on any kind of true, you know what, I'm figuring this out. I'm going to figure out how to heal my heart. I'm going to figure out how to meditate. I'm going to figure out how I can be an authentic being in the world. Every person that decides that for real goes through stuff, because you have to change. You have to let go of stuff that you've like been relying on for probably lifetimes. Is I operate this way, and so I get all my fixes, right? You get all your compliments lined up in advance. you know, when you don't need a compliment, right? When it doesn't matter whether the plan fails, then you're starting to taste of freedom. When it doesn't matter if someone loves you back, then you're tasting the nectar of freedom. And it doesn't matter. Then you can give people what they need and not what they want, right? Because you've been through it all, right? Someone comes to you and they have this kind of problem, and then you can develop a way of showing them how to think of it in a way that's going to help them in a big way, not just solve some small thing that's will probably just happen again, right? Unless you change your whole way of being. If you don't change your whole way of being, then your whole all of reality won't change for you. It will remain the same.
I had an interesting experience.
Ah.
Before I had this experience of detached from everything, maybe out of bad mood or depression, not belonging to my past, not belonging to things that I knew that I liked, but at that moment it didn't make any difference to me. I was such a black mood and such a bad feeling. And tonight I get to that point again. I totally lost all my memory from my family, my background, all that. Like I felt totally detached, far, far away. I couldn't see anything. But as you just described, I was so okay with that.
Yeah.
I didn't, and like all my past experiences of that moment was very fearful, like very terrifying. I was, you know, but tonight I was very relieved, and I thought that I can still be without all those things, and I like that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, it's good. It can often be easier to do these kinds of things in the company of other people that are also trying to do it, right? Because you're like in a safe environment. Um, that also can be. Not saying that's why you had that. I'm just saying that in my experience, sometimes classrooms are good places to have that kind of thing. But that's awesome. That's great because
I heard your voice asking that, who are you without that? I was thinking that it was a little bit conceptual, but I thought that maybe something I need is that type of connection and love without all those things. I couldn't feel it completely, but a little bit I could feel it. That that's something that nourishes and doesn't depend on all these other things.
yeah, that's beautiful because then you can like bring that to the world, right? That piece that you developed, you can actually bring that to the world versus trying to identify yourself as those things. You stop identifying with those things, they've all fallen down, and you're this other thing, and then you meet the world with this thing, and it's like it's all good. People want to have you over for dinner. I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know why. But when you come over, I feel better. Right? You'll start hearing those kinds of things.
Well, we don't need that, do we?
No, but I'm saying.
Invited to dinner.
Well, no, but that's the beauty of it is you don't need those things. But if you fix yourself, pleasant things just happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because not like you still have to live. So what that means is it's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be good because
like the natural side of it.
Yeah, the natural, beautiful Earth experience, right? Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, like all the ups and downs. Right? Yeah, like one of my favorite things about this is, in the beginning they say, oh yeah, you'll get everything that you ever wanted, right? And it's true.
That's the opposite of all these teachings, I guess.
But right, no, you'll get everything you ever wanted, but guess what? What do you want?
Not because you're asking for it.
What do you want?
Want anything.
When you reach right, so when you reach fulfillment, you don't want anything.
Yeah.
So you have everything you could ever want because you don't have any. So it's like it's a play on our ego, right? We need that drive to accomplish it. We need it. We need that thing to just to try and get it. And then when you get closer and closer, then you begin to have this understanding of, oh, it's not what I thought it was going to be. It's going to be different. But luckily, it's too late. You've gone far enough, So anyway, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I will email these to everybody. And I have your email, right?
Yeah. I got the
You got.
one, but just one session, the one that I was here.
Yeah, I mean, if I can send the other ones to you as well, if you'd like, or whether you just want the ones when you're here.
If you can send it, maybe that would be great.
Yeah? Okay. And just so that because I get so many emails now. Which email was yours?
R
Yeah.
_ A SADEGHI @yahoo.com.
Okay, that's right. So I'll just remember. Okay. So that, and then you would like a 5-minute. Okay, so I'll do something that's, and it's just going to be very, very simple. Just a little breath thing or something that you can just 5 minutes. Or you like this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go to that.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Even 10.
You want 10?
Yeah, I'd like 10.
Push it for 10 now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we
But that's
request? Are you open to request?
You want 10?
No, I'm good. 10's better.
10 center head? Okay.
Yeah. 10's better.
For video or audio.
I got control in the plan. And video.
Thank you for the lovely offerings, lovely presents. Doing homemade ones.
This is how
Yes, it comes.
well, actually, my meditation last night, I ate a lot of toasted almonds, and I was kind of feeling
Oh yeah.
it was a good conversation.
I think.
Is he a Canadian guy, Doug?
He's American.
He's American?
Doug.
He's in Long
You know what was
Island,
my favorite?
the one that's doing
So one of the love students